Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cameron Sports Podcast. It's your host here, Cameron Lindsay, back for another episode. Today's episode, we're going to talk some high school football from week 3. We're going to talk some college football. I'm going to give my takeaways from week 2 of college football. I'm going to also give my predictions for week 3. And for the NFL season, I'm going to give my takeaways from week 1. So I got a few pointers to talk about from week 1 of the 2024 NFL season, and I'm going to give my predictions for week 2. But and also before we get into today's episode, I want to say when I record, it does. I don't know why this is all one episode, but it splits into 3 parts or 2 parts. So I'm gonna try to figure that out. So bear with me. But I appreciate each and every one of y'all who tunes in to each episode. You very much appreciate it a lot. A lot. So, but yeah, let's get right into it. So starting off, the 2 top ranked high school teams in the nation faced off last week. Number 1 Martindale took on number 2 Bishop Gorman. Martindale defeated Bishop Gorman in a blowout win, 31-15. Now, I wish this game was on ESPN or TV, Fox, something. I don't know why. These are the 2 top ranked high school teams in the nation. And Martindale dominated this game. Like, it felt like they put up more than 31 points. But, like, watching the highlights, they dominated. It wasn't even close. Like, Bishop Gorman didn't really get those points until, like, later in the game. Martindale, like dominated. Chris Henry Jr., the number 1 receiver in the 2026 class, an Ohio State commit, he wasn't even a factor in the passing game. It was more the running game for Martindale, the running back, an Oregon commit. He balled out. So, but yeah, let me see his name. He's an Oregon commit. Yes. Jordan Davison, he ran the ball very well. The quarterback, I don't know his name, but I'm gonna try to get it next time. But he ran the ball well with his legs. Wasn't even close. And yeah, Martindale still remains number one ranked high school team in the nation in most rankings, which includes Max Preps. Bishop Gorman falls down to 5th, so they fall down. They're 2-1 in the season. Martindale is now, I think, 3-0. That Martindale's 3-0. Bishop Gorman is 2-1 now. But these are the top, top 2 teams in high school to start off the season. Like I said, and yeah, I'm up next episode. I'm gonna talk more about the high school rankings, updated rankings, and yeah, it's a lot of good schools, including Milton. But yeah, Martindale still remains the top high school team nationally right now. Also, some news. Shabana Madonna in Florida defeated number 14th ranked American Heritage in a thriller, 48-45. Now, this is another game I wish it was on ESPN. Shabana Madonna, went undefeated last year. They had a lot of good players, especially, Jeremiah Smith, a freshman at Ohio State, 5-star receiver, 4-star receiver JoJo Trader, a Miami player right now, freshman player there. But shockingly, Shah Namadah started the season 0-2. Yeah, but they pulled off the upset. This game, I watched the highlights, was back and forth. This is a thriller going back and forth. Shah Namadah ended up winning the game on a game-winning field goal. Defeated 2025 Texas commit Dia Bell, quarterback for American Heritage. He's a Texas commit in not the 2025 class, in the 2026 class. He's a Texas commit, and they defeated number 14 ranked American Heritage. You know what I'm saying? This is a very good game. Both these programs are very, very well known. Shah Namadah was ranked. I think they still are. I have to check the updated rankings after this episode. Hold on, I probably can check right now for y'all. Right now, because I do got the rankings up on my phone right now, and I think Shah Namadah, if they still are, let me check for y'all right now. I know I'm doing this while I'm recording too, y'all. I think they had. Oh no, I don't. They were at 11th at one point, but I think they slid down. So I'll have to check next time when I get a chance. But yeah, thriller game, 48-45. Shah Namadah defeats number 14th ranked American Heritage, 48-45. some local high school football here in the state of Alabama, in Phoenix City. Number 17th ranked Central High School here in Phoenix City, Alabama, defeated Smith Station 69-15 on the road in Smith Station, which is like 5 minutes away from Phoenix City. So this is the nickname for this rivalry is the Backyard Brawl. And Central dominated Smith Station 69-15. Central's senior quarterback Andrew Alford was named Offensive Player of the Week. He went 12 for 16, 144 yards and 4 touchdowns in a dominant win over Smith Station. Some other high school news. Number 9, Carrollton, 5-star senior quarterback Julian Lewis, which he has been dominant so far this early on in the season, high school season. And technically he's only 16 years old, so technically he's supposed to be a junior. But he reclassified to the 2025 class, and he's a senior. Through 4 games, his stats are 1,034 passing yards with 18 touchdown passes. Julian Lewis has completed over 79% of his passes so far this season. Now, yeah, I told y'all, if y'all watched my last few episodes, Julian Lewis has been very dominant. And when I watched their first game of the season against Woodward Academy, they pulled up his stats. His freshman and sophomore year, both 48 touchdown passes, and like 1 year, I think his first year was 10 interceptions, and the next year was 3 interceptions. No, yeah, 48 touchdown passes, 3 interceptions. So he doesn't turn the ball over that much, and I expect him to have another 40, 50 touchdown pass season. Julian Lewis is the 5-star quarterback in the 2025 class, number 2 overall player behind Bryce Underwood. He's a USC commit, but yeah, he's very dominant. Carrollton is also a very, very good national high school team. Like I said, they're ranked 9th nationally. Worked last week, but I think the rankings changed, so they might be a little higher right now. But let's get into some college football. That's my notes from high school football from week 3. But let's get into some college football. I got a few notes here that I want to discuss. So, if you watched college football last week, Northern Illinois defeated former number 5 ranked Notre Dame on the road 16-14. Now, I was watching Joel Klatt's podcast, and he had good points. Teams like Texas A&M and Notre Dame do this almost every year. They'll beat a school that's supposed to be real good, and then the following week they lose to somebody that's not really that good at all. And I'm thinking like, okay, beginning of the season, I had Notre Dame making the college football playoff based off their schedule, because really the hardest teams they had to face was Florida State and USC. Now we thinking like, of course now for Florida State being 0-2, they're not as good as that we thought they were with DJ Ugongale losing all them transfers. So Florida State's not as good, and I don't think that right now. I don't even know if they gonna win the ACC. To be honest, if you watched last episode, I said I took back that prediction. I don't think Florida State's gonna make the playoff. I just don't. And I'm thinking, okay, Notre Dame went into Texas A&M, one of the hardest places to play on the road at night. Even Nick Saban said it at night. The greatest college football coach of all time said it's very, very hard to play at Texas A&M on the road at night, which it is. That big stadium, the 12th man, that being loud. Notre Dame went into Texas A&M. It was a very close game, hard for a game. Notre Dame, I'm thinking like Notre Dame's defense is really, really good, especially their secondary. Their secondary is very, very good. So I'm thinking like, okay, yeah, they definitely got a chance to make the college football playoff. Now, they're not going to get a top 4 seed because Notre Dame is not in the conference, but I had Notre Dame. They should be host a possible playoff game, be the 5th seed in the 12-team playoff after that win. So like, okay, watching the game, I'm thinking, a lot of college teams earlier on in the season do struggle a bit. Like Oregon, they struggled against Idaho, but they won the game. I'm thinking, okay, Notre Dame, you're at home, you just beat a top 20 team in Texas A&M. You feeling yourself, long as they win this game, okay, cool. But no, they lost at home. And now, like, with Notre Dame not being in a conference, it makes it even harder. USC beat LSU, a pretty, so USC might be better than we thought. They may be better than we thought. So if that's the case, I think at best, I don't think Notre Dame can afford to lose another, really, probably really another game. But I think Marcus Freeman is a very good coach. I think possibly it could turn around, but it's not going to be easy at all. But losing to a team like Northern Illinois does hurt their chances a lot, because outside of playing USC, their schedule is not really that strong at all. Because Florida State's not as good as we thought it was. I personally think Notre Dame should move to a conference, like join the ACC, like they did that 1 year during COVID. Join the ACC or join the Big Ten. I probably say probably more of the Big Ten, because now Clemson and Florida State are possibly trying to lead the ACC. I wouldn't be surprised if one of them two or both leads the ACC within the next maybe 3-5 years. But yeah, I'm disappointed in Notre Dame. At home losing, like now it's like your playoff chances go from here to, so it's gonna be very hard. They probably gonna need some help now. Now the only reason I say they don't, because like I said, their schedule is very weak. Like if I think I have Notre Dame's schedule in my phone, I look at it right now. Oh, here it is. So Notre Dame's remaining schedule. They play Purdue on the road, Miami, Ohio in the MAC conference, Louisville, Stanford, at Georgia Tech. Now Georgia Tech is better, a little bit better than they thought, even though they did lose to Syracuse. I'm gonna get into that in a moment. Navy, Florida State, Virginia, USC. So if Georgia Tech, even after that loss, continues to play good, that if they beat Georgia Tech, that could look good as a win. But yeah, other than that, they gonna have to run the table, to be honest. Because I don't know what a 10-2 Notre Dame team that's not in the conference get in. I don't know. Yeah. So, but yeah, that was a bad loss on Notre Dame's part. Again, speaking of Georgia Tech, they did lose on the road to Syracuse, 31-28. Former Ohio State quarterback Kyle McCord, who's now at Syracuse, he currently leads the nation in passing yards with 735 and 8 touchdown passes. Like I said, I ain't gonna lie, he been balling. Like I said, at Ohio State, he wasn't bad, but he was more like mid, I guess you could say. And he's been doing, even though it's only 2 games now, but Kyle McCord has been playing pretty well, so I got to give him to it with that. But Syracuse, Syracuse is maybe better than we thought. The ACC, I think, is wide open. I mean, well, Miami, I think it goes Miami and then open with everybody else, because I don't think Clemson is that good. The offense is terrible. Their defense is fine, but the offense is terrible. And then everybody else is like, so it's like Miami and then everybody else after that. But yeah, I think it's wide open. After Miami, it's wide open. Another note, number 7 Oregon defeated Boise State 37-34 at home. Boise State running back Ashton Jeanty had another monster game. This time, of course, against Oregon with 25 carries for 192 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had week 1 at Georgia Southern, he had 20 carries for 267 yards, 6 touchdowns. And my question is he a Heisman contender? I think so. Boise State was my second choice after Liberty to possibly make the college football playoff as the highest ranked group of 5 champion. I went with Liberty because I love that quarterback and their running back coming back. But Ashton Jeanty is very, very good. I think already he's probably right now arguably the best running back in the nation. Right now, I don't think better than Ollie Gordon, but I think he right now a Heisman contender after 2 monster games against Oregon. Now, of course, against a group of 5 team in Georgia Southern 1 week, but he did it against Oregon. And I said it, if he has a monster game, they were going to beat Oregon. The only reason Oregon won this game was due to special team touchdowns. They won at the last second, I think with a last second field goal to beat Boise State. So Oregon squeaked out with a win with this, but I think if I was y'all, pay attention to Boise State running back Ashton Jeanty. Again, he had against Oregon 25 carries, 192 yards, 3 touchdowns. Against Georgia Southern, he had 20 carries, 267 yards, 6 touchdowns. So remember that name, Ashton Jeanty, running back for Boise State. Next, another note, number 4, Texas dominated number 10, Michigan on the road, 31-12. And my question for y'all is, as watching, was I right about Texas dominating Michigan? I'm gonna answer that for you. Yes, I was. I told y'all. I know people on Fox or maybe even Joel Clack, which I love Joel Clack, said this game was gonna be close, a low scoring game. No, after watching Michigan against Fresno State struggling, and Texas, the way Texas is, they physical on the O-line, D-line. Quinn Ewers coming back. Like Michigan losing J.J. McCarthy, Blake Corum, the head coach, Jim Harbaugh, the defensive coordinator. Like I just don't think. And I had Texas dominating Michigan. If you watch the last, I had them dominating Michigan, and I was right. Because one, Michigan quarterback Davis Warren, he went 22 of 33, 204 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. The week before against Fresno State, he went 15 for 25, 118 yards, a touchdown, and 1 pick. He's playing mid, really below average. He's not playing that well. I don't like their quarterback. I thought Alex Orji would have started, but they went with Davis Warren at quarterback. And so far he's not playing all that well. Against Fresno State, 15 for 25, 118 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Against Texas, 22 of 33, 204 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. I just think it's going to be a pretty long year for Michigan. Now, I do got Michigan as at least an 8-9 win team. That's their ceiling is 9 wins. Their floor is 8-4. Now, next year they may be better, but this year is going to be hard. Because they did lose a lot of pieces last year. I just don't think Michigan going to be able to compete with Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon. Even Oregon right now, they're struggling. I think by the time they play Michigan, I think Oregon should be able to figure it out and get right on track. Speaking of Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers had a great game against Michigan, going 24-36, 246 yards, 3 touchdowns. And me personally, I think he's a Heisman contender. Like I said, he balled out in week 1. He balls out now. So right now, Ashton Jeanty, running back for Boise State, and Quinn Ewers are 2 of my top Heisman Trophy contenders right now. I would personally put them in there. But yeah, I think Quinn Ewers is, he made the right decision coming back. And he possibly can play himself into being a first-round pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. But let me get into another note. This one right here, I gotta discuss. Now, Auburn, y'all need to bench Peyton Thorne. After that game against Cal, he gotta go. But really, before the season started, even off camera, I said Auburn is a dark horse. They can be something this season. In the future, especially with the Freeze 4, Cam Coleman, freshman 5-star receiver, freshman receiver, 4-star receiver, Perry Thompson. They got a couple other 4-star freshman receivers. They call it the Freeze 4. They got talent, especially the wide receiver. I think the best talent, even Nick Saban said it, the best talent at receiver they didn't had in years, maybe ever. And Peyton Thorne went 14 for 27, 167 yards, 1 touchdown, and 4 picks. And they lost to Cal 21-14. And guess what now I know some of y'all saying, oh, it's only week 2. Guess what Peyton Thorne's stats were last season? He had 1,755 passing yards, 16 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. And I said it, if he can keep those turnovers low, Auburn might have a chance to compete to make it to Atlanta for the SEC championship game. Might have a chance. But no, he throws for 165 yards and he throws 4 picks. And one of my fellow sports people, I got to give a shout out to College Couch Podcast, Jarvis and his cousin. I give a shout out to them. Even he said it on Facebook. Auburn needs to bench Peyton Thorne, and I completely agree with him. This is out of pocket. If Auburn, I think they play Arkansas this week. If they struggle against Arkansas, and I seen Arkansas play Oklahoma State. No, they play New Mexico. My bad. They don't play Arkansas this week. They play New Mexico. They'll probably beat New Mexico. But if he plays like this against Cal, if he plays like this against another Power 4 school, against Arkansas, and Arkansas, even though they lost to Oklahoma State, their quarterback looks pretty good. They looked pretty good. I think Arkansas might be better than we might. I know it's early in the season, might. I like that quarterback a little bit. But he gonna need to be benched. If he plays trash against New Mexico, and Auburn lost against New Mexico last year at home. If he plays like that again, he got to be benched. Put Hank, what's his name, Walker White, the freshman, or somebody else in, because Peyton Thorne, he can't play. I'm sorry, he can't play. I would bench him, but he just can't. He just can't. But Hugh Freeze needs to make that decision. He's the head coach. I'm just a journalist making my way up. But yeah, again, he went 14 of 27, 165 yards, a touchdown, 4 picks, and a 21-14 loss against Cal at home. And really, he played like this last year against Cal on the road and lost. I should have pulled them stats up, but yeah, again, last season his stats were 1,700 yards, passing yards, 16 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. That's not gonna get it done. But yeah, let's get into some Week 3 predictions after talking about that. Like again, Auburn bench Peyton Thorne, he gotta go. Now let's get into Week 3. This Week 3 starts this Friday, September 13th at 8 p.m. with number 20 Arizona, who's 2-0, taking on number 14th ranked Kansas State, who's also 2-0. I'm gonna go Kansas State. They did almost lost a close one against Tulane, but Tulane's better than we thought. If y'all don't know about Tulane for the past couple of years has been really, really good. And so it's no shame for Kansas State pulling out a close one against a group of 5 team like Tulane. Tulane's a really good team. But I'm going to go Kansas State, especially at home. I love their quarterback. I love their running game, especially with Dylan Edwards, the transfer from Colorado. I think Kansas State is going to be a contender in the Big 12 to possibly make the playoff. The Big 12 is going to be competitive, but Kansas State, I like their team, so I'm going Kansas State over Arizona this Friday, September 13th at 8 p.m. Next game, now let's get to a couple Saturday games. Number 4th ranked Alabama, 2-0, taking on Wisconsin, who's 2-0. Saturday, September 14th, 12 p.m. Now, I know Alabama at first played a closer with UCF at home, but they pulled away at the end and made it a blowout. I don't know too much about Wisconsin. Now, it probably could be close because Alabama heading up north into that weather. They've never been up there before. Jalen Milroe, they've never been up there. I feel like it probably could be a close one for a while, but I think Alabama's going to pull away. I think Alabama's going to win this. I trust Jalen Milroe way more than I do matter of fact, Wisconsin, they do got the transfer, Van Dyke, Van Dyke from the transfer from Miami. He transferred to Wisconsin, but they don't have their starting running back anymore. But I'm going Alabama over Wisconsin in that game. Next up, we got 16th ranked LSU, 1-1, taking on South Carolina, 2-0. South Carolina did get the win over Kentucky, a blowout on the road. LSU picked up the win after falling short against USC in Vegas. Now, I went back and forth because I did like the way South Carolina played against Kentucky. They was better than I thought. But I'm going LSU. I think LSU has a little bit more more talent than South Carolina. I do want to see how LSU's quarterbacks look more in this game. But I'm going LSU to get the win over South Carolina. Probably in a close one or at least 10 points. Something like that. And lastly, number 1 ranked Georgia, 2-0, taking on Kentucky. Now, this one, Kentucky coming off a blowout loss against South Carolina. And if South Carolina blew up Kentucky on the road, I know for sure a fact Georgia's going to do the same thing. Carson Beck, I think Mikael Williams is going to play in this game. Georgia's top pass rusher. So, yeah, I'm definitely going Georgia in this game, especially with Trevor Etienne playing in this game. I think he did play last week, but he didn't play in week 1. But I'm going Georgia big over Kentucky. But, again, yeah, for this Saturday, my predictions, I got Kansas State over Arizona, Alabama over Wisconsin, LSU over South Carolina, and Georgia dominating Kentucky. But yeah, now let's get into some NFL takeaways from week 1. couple ones I got starting off with Saquon Barkley balling out in his first game as a Philadelphia Eagle against the Green Bay Packers, going for he had 26 total touches for 132 all-purpose yards. He had 3 touchdowns, 2 on the ground, 1 in the air. Now Saquon did sign with the Eagles in free agency. He was with the Giants, for the first part of his career. And I thought it was a real good. So I was shocked. I didn't think the Eagles would. They let go of DeAndre Swift. I didn't think they want to pay a running back that kind of money, but they did. I thought it was a really good signing. Saquon. I thought he would fit the offense, help the Eagles run the ball even better, be a real great threat in the passing game, and he proved me right. He balled out. His first touchdown was in the air. He did a real good wheel route, got a mismatch with the linebacker, caught it. He ran the ball well for over 100 yards. And Saquon could possibly, be a running for offensive player of the year if he keeps playing like this. If he at least stays healthy, that's for the most part. I think Saquon will possibly be offensive player of the year this season. But I will say that, he's my player of the game. But I will say that Jalen Hurts does need to limit his turnovers. He had 2 interceptions. He had 2 touchdown passes, but he got limited them turnovers because he almost threw the game for the Eagles against the Packers. To start off the game, the Eagles offense did start off slow, but they picked it up, especially the help of Saquon and A.J. Brown go for 100 yards. Devontae Smith doing Devontae Smith things. So, but yeah, Saquon, he balled out very, very well. So I wasn't surprised. I do expect them to probably have another good, decent game against the Atlanta Falcons, even though the Falcons' defense is better, but it's at home in Philadelphia. So I expect, Saquon to have another good game. Now, this next note may sound a little biased because it's about my Chargers. My Chargers got the win against the Las Vegas Raiders. Thanks to J.K. Dobbins going for 10 carries, 135 yards and a touchdown. Now, if you watched last episode, I said I'm gonna trust Jim Harbaugh because he did, even though he did get rid of our 2 best receivers in Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. He drafted Joe Alt out of Notre Dame, the big 6'8" offensive lineman, which I was like, okay, I ain't got no problem with that pick, even though I was hoping Marvin Harrison fell to us, but no. Or I was hoping we would go from elite neighbors, but he wants to help protect Justin Herbert. So if it means protecting our franchise quarterback, I'm with it. And guess what? Joe Alt played very well. He did not allow really any pressures or a sack going against one of the top pass rushers in the game, Max Crosby. He dominated him all game. So with Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater, if them 2 keep playing like this, we're going to have 2 all-pro tackles, 2 all-pro offensive linemen. And so I love that pick. We ran the ball real. So I know that's one thing Jim Harbaugh wanted to do. Like when he had Michigan, he wants to run the football in a dominant way with Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. That's why he signed both. That's why we signed both of them out of Baltimore. So I was very happy. 22-10. We picked up the win. We play Carolina this week. I'm gonna get into that, but I'm very proud of my Chargers. We finally got a head coach. We can stop wasting Justin Herbert's prime. Now, the only thing I will say, and also Ladd McConkey scored a touchdown. He had a pretty decent game. I just hope that our receivers can, as the season goes on, step up a little bit because, okay, cool, we running the ball. So what happened about passing the ball? So I just hope our receivers continue to step up. Another note, Deshaun Watson. He went 24-44 for 169 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, and a 33-17 loss against the Cowboys. And I personally think if he continues to play like this, he needs to be benched. The Browns might have to move off him after this season. He's not the same like he was in Houston. After the allegations about the massage and sexually doing stuff with massage people, he ain't been the same. And the first couple of years, I gave him the benefit of the doubt because 1 year he didn't play at all. The next year he was suspended for like 8-10 games. But last year they made the playoffs. He played in the regular season. He played like boo boo. He was injured. He ended up sitting the rest of the season. Joe Flacco came and played well. But now there's no excuse. I feel like if he plays average to below, like, come on, Deshaun, at least give us like 60% of what you once were. Now it's like he forgot how to play football. And it's sad to say because Deshaun, I thought was going to be special. And he may be the worst quarterback in that division in the AFC North. In my personal opinion, I got Lamar. Joe Burrow. Well, now 3, because technically Pittsburgh, we don't know how Justin Fields or Russell Wilson is going to be. So besides that, he's the 3rd best quarterback. But yeah, I think Deshaun might have to go. I know that would hurt Cleveland as far as like being over the cap, because that's over $70 million in dead cap. That's going to affect them if they release him. But you might have to bite that, like, because he's like, I think I watched it on Pick a Side podcast. They even said it. He's playing like tomato cans. Not tomato. Not they didn't say it on First Things First yesterday. My bad. Not Pick a Side podcast. Shout out to them though. On First Things First, Nick Wright and them saying he's playing like tomato cans, and they're right. He's definitely playing like tomato cans. And I like Deshaun, but he's just not the same no more. Like, bro, you got all the talent. You got David Njoku, Nick Chubb, Amari Cooper. You got Jerry Jeudy. You got all this talent. And you playing like this on defense. You got Myles Garrett, arguably the best defensive player in football. You got Denzel Ward, one of the best corners in all of football. You got an elite defense. Cleveland Browns had the best defense last season. It's only week 1. I know they gave up 33 points, but to be honest, they did all they can. Like, it's all what can they do if Deshaun and their offense play like booty juice? So, I think if he continues to play like this, they might have to bench him for Jameis Winston or bring Joe Flacco back. Whoever team Joe Flacco's on, call him, trade him. Like, they might have to get rid of Sean. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, I hate to see it. And it's funny because the same player that they got rid of to get Deshaun, Baker Mayfield, in a win against the Commanders, he went 24-30, 289 yards and 4 touchdown passes. Now, I could admit I was wrong. I thought